Hey there, thanks for stopping by. This is my first Incarnate video, and I'm pretty excited for it. I want to talk about affinities today, real quick, and what they mean in the game. As always, if you like the content, let me know by liking and subscribing. Lets me know that I should make more content just like this and help you guys out. Toss some comments out there. Let me know how I'm doing. Love the feedback, helps me grow. With that, let's get into it. All right, so I've got the game up. It's currently in Alpha 2. They had an Alpha 1 for a little while, then they came back, did some improvements, went to a new back end, and now they've released the Alpha 2 build, and they're making updates almost daily to fix all these little errors that we're finding in the Alpha 2. The UI is certainly subject to change, but this is what it looks like now, and it's looking a lot better day after day. So from an affinity perspective, how do you know what affinity your incarnate is? So these little icons here uh, on the incarnate image are your affinities. So this one here is balance. The next one here is death. The next one is void. And one right here is life. Those are how you know what affinity your incarnates are. And how do you generate your affinities by your incarnate? So you actually get to choose based on the selection of the parts that you have. So what we'll do right now, we'll go to the forge. This is where you create incarnates, and you have a whole bunch of parts. As you play the game, they're going to drop over time, and you get parts. And each one of those parts has an affinity associated with it. So you can see on these mind pieces, I've got a void piece here, a death piece here, and a life piece here. You won't find any balance pieces. The balance comes when you have one of each of those affinities. And right now, with the default selections, I've got a body part that's life, I've got a mind part that is life, and I've got a soul part that's life. And you can tell through these buttons here that these are the blue pieces. And if you look on the screen, blue is representative of the life. And you can see with those three pieces, I've got two or more life pieces, and my incarnate here would turn into an affinity of life. Now we'll play around and just show you as you mix them up. So if I make this part or select this part that has the void affinity to it, you can see my incarnate still remains life because I've got two or more affinities that are life, and I've got one void. Now let's go find a body piece that has a void, and you can now see that because I've got two void pieces, or two void parts rather, I now would create a void incarnate. So if we change this to a death piece, I've got one. Yep, there we go. So I've got a death piece here. I've got now three different affinities on those parts, and you can see that this incarnate, if forged, would turn into a balance affinity. So it's really cool. Based on the parts that you have, you get to select what affinity that your incarnate is, and you get to mix and match these until you're good with the combinations. This will allow you to kind of min max and generate the most potential out of your incarnates for the battles that you're going to face in the game. And it allows you to build your team the way you want to build your team. There's no summoning RNG here to get the affinity that you want besides the RNG of the drops of the parts. And they should be somewhat regular, right? They shouldn't be as hard to get as some champions in other games. So I like the system. It's really cool. I've been having a lot of fun just grinding the game and getting parts and just messing around with affinities. So let's move into actual gameplay and see what the difference is when you're a strong affinity versus a weak affinity, and vice versa, a weak affinity versus a strong affinity. All right, so the only mode that's available in the game right now is the waves mode. So that's where we're going to go. We're going to go into the waves, and this is just endless waves. And you can see various levels that I've completed. And each wave consists of three groups of incarnates that you have to defeat. Once you defeat three more come up until you get through three levels. So we'll just go off and do a somewhat easier one. Know that when I'm playing the game right now, the damage modifiers and all that are probably scaled up. The XP that we get are scaled up. right now, just to increase the ability that we have to test the game right now. So don't put too much stock into that. What we really care about is what are the deltas between hitting a strong affinity versus a weak affinity incarnate. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab a few incarnates that I'm familiar with that I've been playing, and we'll start the battle. All right, so what do we got here? We have my balance affinity incarnate, my void affinity incarnate, and my death affinity incarnate. And we are going to be facing a balance affinity incarnate, a death affinity, and a life affinity. So at this point, that life affinity incarnate right here is going to be strong against my void affinity incarnate, and my void affinity incarnate is going to be strong against this death affinity incarnate. So we'll get a good comparison of what it looks like for attacking a weak affinity incarnate versus attacking a stronger affinity incarnate, and what the difference is in damage. So I'm going to go ahead and get this set up so we can see the attacks and minimize you watching movements around the board, and we'll come right back. All right, so we're ready to do the first attack here. I'm going to use my A3 ability, which is a single turn cooldown ability. I am not going to be standing behind or above the incarnate. I want to have just completely neutral damage as much as I can, because when you attack from behind, you get a little bit more damage. When you attack from above, you get more damage as well. So I just want it to be completely neutral, and we'll do that for both incarnates. So let's just use the first ability here called Covenant. It's just a simple attack. So it did 1300 damage. So let's remember that, and we'll try to attack again, see what the number comes out again for this incarnate, and then we'll move on to the next. All right, so we're ready for our second attack. The AI moved around, so I had to reposition my incarnate. But again, I'm on the same plane and I'm not attacking from behind, so it's going to be neutral damage, no damage modifiers there. So we should see similar numbers. So let's go ahead and use it. 1261. So the other one was, I think, 1311 or 1300, 1261, right in the range of that same number. I'm going to get positioned again for me to attack a weaker affinity, and we can see what the damage looks like there. All right, so I'm ready for another attack. The first attack on this second incarnate. I am strong affinity to this incarnate. Again, void is stronger than death. So I'm going to use that Covenant same ability. Last time we saw 1260, 1300 on the other incarnate. Now the damage could be slightly different from the sense of higher defense, lower defense, but we should see higher numbers, assuming the defenses are fairly similar. So I'm going to go ahead and use it. 1899. So I'm willing to bet that this has a little bit lighter defense, but still, if you look at the difference between those, you're seeing 20% less damage against a strong affinity. And if you are strong affinity, you're seeing 20% more damage against the weaker affinity. So we'll set up again. We'll try that again and see if the numbers come about the same. All right, we're back and we're ready to go ahead and do this second hit on the second incarnate and see what it looks like. Again, we're not behind. That gives you additional damage, and we're on the same plane, so it's going to be the same, should be right around the same damage. So go ahead and use it. Last time it was 1899. I got a crit there, so it pumped it up to 2700. Let's go ahead and try it, and hopefully we don't get a crit, see if we get the same numbers. All right, we're back for our second hit. Well, technically the third. The second one it crit, so it didn't show the same numbers. So let's go ahead and try this again. Again, they're on the same plane. I'm not attacking from behind, so I'm not going to get more damage. Let's see what it looks like. Crit again. Awesome. All right, so we're back again for the fourth hit. The first one didn't crit. The second two did crit, and we'll see if this one crits or not. Again, we're looking at like the 1800 and 1900 range if it doesn't crit. If it does crit, again, that's just further proof that when you are a stronger affinity than your opponent, you have 15% more crit rate. So that's a huge, huge improvement. So let's go ahead and use it and see what happens. Third crit in a row. So all the three crits have been somewhere around, the 26, 2700 mark. So you can see that, you get stronger damage. You know, you saw the 1800 versus the 1300 ish on the weak affinity. You're getting more crit rate, and in this case 15% more. So we just got more crits in a row, or 3 crits in a row there, because we had more crit rate. So that is the power of being strong affinity against you know, obviously a weak affinity character. You get more crit, more damage. It's a big deal. And then you get more of an advantage because they do less damage and have less chance to crit against you. So it's perfect if you plan that out and build your teams around that for the battles that you're about to face. All right, so let's move on to my balance affinity incarnate and see what that damage looks like across the different affinities. All right, so I'm back with my balance incarnate. We're going to do a little bit of a test here. Changed levels, was having an issue with the other level and an internal that I had equipped. So I unequip that eternal, we'll come back and we'll do a test here. So I'm going to use this ability called Rampart. It attacks 3 times. So we're only going to attack this one once, then we'll move on to the balance affinity in the back here, and we'll attack that and we'll compare the damage. So let's go ahead and use that right now. All right, so 1186, then 860, 860. So you can see pretty consistent there. You know, plus or minus probably about 10% if you're probably normally hitting for about 900. So we'll look at that and we'll say probably right around the average, about 900 there. And then we'll go ahead and move on to this, the back incarnate here, this one that just moved. We'll just go ahead and end the turns for the other incarnates. That way we move here faster. But this is the AI working. It's not finished yet by any means. So it's just going through the enemy progressions. I'm just going to end the turn on my other incarnates here. And I'm going to go ahead and move to this space here. And we'll go ahead and get another 3 attacks. Now, again, the difference in damage could, you know, if there's a significant difference, is probably going to be ending up due to the defense of the enemy incarnate, but we'll use it and see what we get. So 981, 744, and 759. So slightly lower, but still within the range of that plus or minus 10%. This looks like it's got a judge piece to it, so it's probably a little bit tankier, a little bit more defense on it. So I kind of would expect that. But you can see that even though I attacked two different affinities with this balance affinity, it was neutral. There was no damage plus or minus because it's just neutral to the affinities. All right, so I hope the explanation of the affinities was worth your time and it helped you understand what weak and strong affinities are compared to each other. I hope the gameplay video showed you that, you know, it really does work. You do get more crit. You do get more damage if you're a stronger affinity against your enemy. And when you're playing balanced, it's just neutral across the board. If you like this video, you know, again, please like and subscribe. It helps me out, lets me know you want to see more of this. Feel free to come in and join the Discord. We have a lot of fun in there. We talk about the game a little bit. You don't have to be an alpha or beta member to get in there. Just come join us, and the latest news for the game is in there. The developers are very present in there. They're very active. They respond to messages very quickly. It's a great community in there, and we're just trying to build it some more. I'll link the Discord below, and hope to see you soon. And let me know if you've got anything else you want to see about the game, whether it's art styles or you want to see more gameplay videos. That'll be coming for sure. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you liked or didn't like about this video and what you want to see more of. Thanks, and hope to see you soon.